The third primary debate of the California governor's race took place last night, and I have a prediction for who will become the next governor. Xavier Becerra. I'm calling the race for Becerra. I believe he's going to win because he opposes single-payer health care, unlike every other Democrat candidate. The Republicans, Steve Hilton and Chad Bianco, oppose single-payer as well, but I don't think a Republican can win the governor's race in California. I just don't. The two biggest subjects of the debate last night were undocumented workers and single-payer health care. Now, what we witnessed in the debate last night are California candidates, most of them Democrats, affirming that California is a sanctuary state which is at risk of moving toward single-payer health care. Now, that refers to the elimination of private health insurance. The government would fund health care for all. So everyone would have access to health care without paying out of pocket, no copays, etc., but everyone's taxes would go up. Now, everyone's taxes across the board and every type of tax would go up to fund health care for all, including for undocumented workers. Now, that was the other big issue in last night's debate. About 50% of California's agricultural workers are undocumented. Now, it was made abundantly clear last night that Democrats don't want to lose the revenue generated by those undocumented workers. For example, here's former LA Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa.
You know, I know you're recently arrived to California, but if you've read the Bay Area Institute, the UC Merced study, immigrants, if we took them all out, including the undocumented, it would be a $274 billion hit to the California
Sheriff Bianco,
economy.
just to follow up.
Now, what I heard from Mayor Villaraigosa is it's not a bleeding heart reaction at all. It's economics. They're chasing the dollars. Now, here's San Jose Mayor Matt Mahan.
We can all agree that we should have a secure border. If you're committing serious and violent crime, deportation is the consequence. But I was just in the fashion district on the side of downtown Los Angeles, where I met with small business owners who have tears in their eyes because they don't have customers anymore, because Donald Trump's cruel and indiscriminate enforcement based on the color of people's skins, the language they're speaking, it has terrorized the community. It's targeting the Latino community. It is disproportionately impacting our immigrant neighbors.
Now, Mayor Mahan says the undocumented workers have become consumers as well, and California doesn't want to lose that revenue either. I've already mentioned in previous videos that Xavier Becerra got the biggest poll bounce from Eric Swalwell's disgrace and exit from the gubernatorial race. Well, it turns out Swalwell didn't support single payer either. Now, that's the key issue, folks. That's why Becerra got all of Swalwell's voters. Now, they both oppose single-payer health care. Now, Steve Hilton and Chad Bianco showed their quality in last night's debate. They are quality candidates, but they're not Democrats, and they're running in a deep blue state. Now, Becerra has the endorsement of the California Medical Association, a physician group that opposes single-payer because doctors would be the big losers in a single-payer system. Doctors would lose their autonomy, and they would lose their power, although the healthcare system would be useless without doctors. Now, currently, doctors run the healthcare system. They control it. They do. In a single-payer system, that would change. Doctors would be forced to negotiate with the government, and doctors say single-payer isn't feasible economically. Now, that indicates to me the government would drive down the revenue for doctors, destroying their incentive. Now, there would be a huge exodus of doctors from the state. They would flee in droves. Now, Tom Steyer, who's a big progressive, has the endorsement of the California Nurses Association, which supports single payer. Now, nurses have very little control of the healthcare system currently, so it's not a surprise they would want the system to change. Now, if California becomes single payer, I anticipate that the quality of medical care will decline drastically because doctors will flee. Now, why would they stick around? Why would they go to med school for 4 years, then do a 1 to 2 year internship, then do a 3 to 7 year residency, then take all of the liability risk while working 10 to 12-hour days, some of them, working weekends, sometimes working 60-hour weeks, 80-hour weeks? Now, all of these California Democrats, who are all quite savvy, Okay, what they seem to be saying is that they want to drive doctors out of the state. They want to reset the power dynamics in the healthcare system, and ultimately, they want to change California's demographics. And California residents are already getting the message because they're fleeing the state in droves, going mostly to Texas, Florida, Arizona, Nevada, and Oregon. Now, the out-migration from California has been offset somewhat by a new wave of people coming in. Many of them are younger, healthier, and undocumented. But some of those folks still need health care, mainly maternal and child health care. Now, California Democrats are banking on those folks as California's future. Make no mistake about that. The debate last night indicated that the issues of undocumented workers, single-payer health care, and AI are intertwined. Very much so. And if the economics don't work out, it'll be a doom loop. Now, doctors already see the doom loop. By the time everyone else sees it, the doctors will be gone. Illegal migration, single-payer healthcare, and AI. Together, they add up to a progressive vision of society. Now, they portray it as utopia, but it seems to me Darwinian, except for those at the very top, the billionaires like Tom Steyer, Elon Musk, etc. They'll always have access to the best healthcare, of course, the healthiest food, the cushiest jobs, the safest neighborhoods. But for everyone else, there will be reduced access to health and safety, reduced access to affordable housing and safe neighborhoods, a reduced standard of living, and maybe dangerous, life-threatening jobs will be all that's available. And of course, a reduced police presence, as in Venezuela, whose head of state was a literal drug kingpin. Let's watch.
Do you also support prosecuting the leadership of ICE?
I think we should police Donald Trump's masked mercenary force that they call ICE. I think we should prosecute any of the forces that violate the law. And I think we should jail anyone who has violated the law. That goes all the way to the top.
I
If
agree.
anyone has violated the laws of California, they should serve time.
And I'm telling you, no one has.
That's, there are two people who are dead in Minneapolis because they were simply doing
Don't
their
lie.
civic duty and being able to
Your
act
civic
under
duty
the
is
Constitution.
bringing a gun and fighting with cops. Your civic duty is to try and run over cops. Come on.
Now, in that clip, Republican Chad Bianco, LA County Sheriff, and Democrat Xavier Becerra disagreed about the actions of two activists killed in the Minneapolis anti-ICE protests, Renee Good and Alex Preddy. Now, Preddy brought a gun to an ICE raid and was shot and killed. Ms. Good clipped an ICE officer with her car trying to evade arrest and was shot and killed. Now, I would say, in terms of the doom loop that I was speaking about, it has three prongs, as I said: undocumented workers, single-payer healthcare, and AI. Now, AI is replacing software coders, for goodness sake. Now, they helped develop the technology that wiped out their own jobs. Now, if candidates support all three prongs of the doom loop, and those candidates are, unless I'm mistaken, Tom Steyer, Matt Mahan, and Antonio Villaraigosa, unless those guys change their positions on the doom loop issues, if those candidates are elected governor, or if the other candidates change their positions to support all three of those doom loop issues, it seems to me it doesn't bode well for California. And let me just emphasize, I'm not saying there are only three doom loop issues. Those are just the three that were discussed in last night's debate. Now, Xavier Becerra, he's an intriguing character. Apparently, he supported single-payer his entire career in government, which included a stint as HHS secretary under Biden. But now he's not so firm on single-payer, and as a result, he probably will win. Now, after he's governor, there's no guarantee he won't go back to supporting single-payer, but doctors would flee the state, and he doesn't want that, presumably. So there's an external factor keeping him centrist. Now, in California, as the debate last night made clear, most of the Democrat politicians are weaponizing resentment against doctors, a professional class that's well paid, to be sure, well-educated, powerful. Now, isn't that what happened in Venezuela when Hugo Chavez weaponized resentment against the wealthy elite and turned Venezuela socialist? And by the time of Nicolas Maduro's capture by the U.S. government, the socialists, because now that's what the drug cartels are calling themselves now, it seems, the socialists, they had turned a thriving petrostate into a crime-ridden drug den that its own people people were fleeing in droves. Now, that could happen in California as well, but not yet. Now, Xavier Becerra probably will be elected governor. He has the backing of the California Medical Association, and they probably will hold it down for California, at least in the near term. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, leave a like and don't forget to subscribe.